Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this one I thought we could discuss subtle signs of low self-esteem. You know, I think that most of us can tell that somebody who laughs and cover their mouth while laughing has, you know, low self-esteem or is probably insecure. But you know, there are other signs that are way more subtle than this. And in this one I wanted to help you guys out because, you know, low self-esteem will ruin your life. That's just the bottom line of it all, right? If you have low self-esteem, you are going to attract users, abusers, narcissistic personalities, and you are going to put up with the abuse because you are going to feel like this is what you deserve, right? If you have low self-esteem, you are not going to go for your goals, for your dreams, for your aspirations. So low self-esteem will literally ruin your life. So let me help you out. And sign number one is you over apologize. Okay, people who apologize too much all the time have low self-esteem. They are insecure, right? What do I mean by this? I'm going to give tangible example, as I always do. Is let's say, you know, you're on holiday with someone. Now this person is a bit anal. Okay, we all know someone who is anal. So you say, oh, you know, I'm gonna go to the beach today, the water is so clear, it's so blue. And they say, actually the water is not blue, it is turquoise. And then instead of being like, yeah, whatever girl, you know, potato, you go like, oh yeah, sorry, oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, you're right, sorry. That is a sign of low self-esteem. If someone say, you know, if you say rather, sorry, the sky is blue today, and you know your friend say, actually, again, you have an anal friend, point of correction, today the sky is actually quite cloudy, and you go, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you're right, yeah, sorry, it is cloudy. You are insecure and you need to work on that. Now I'm going to link the video that I have on, you know, fixing your low self-esteem in the comment section, right? So, but funny enough, apologizing too much is a sign of low self-esteem, but never apologizing as well is a sign of low self-esteem. How? People who never ever apologize. I think we all know someone like this, and I'm going to be so transparent. You all know I'm always very transparent on this channel and say I used to be this person. People who never apologize, no matter how much in the wrong they are, you can explain to them in, you know, several ways how they're in the wrong for what they did, and they never say sorry. That is because they already feel very weak inside. Okay, their sense of self-worth is already very shattered, and because of this they don't want to shatter it any further by having to recognize that they make a mistake, having to recognize that they did something wrong. Think about it. You know, low self-esteem oftentimes comes from, you know, infancy and early childhood, and usually it comes from having parents who over criticize what you did a lot, wanting to control your every move. So if you had to deal with that as a child, as an adult, you may just feel like, you know, I'm never going to tell anyone I'm sorry, period. So if you never apologize, or if you apologize too much, you know, these are signs of insecurity. They are signs of low self-esteem. Now, another thing that people who have, now this is true for people who have extreme low self-esteem, unfortunately, like this is the saddest thing in the world to me, is that they are very afraid to take space, right? People who have extreme level of low self-esteem literally almost feel like they don't, you know, deserve to be here, which is, again, the saddest thing in the world to me. Now I'm going to give a tangible example. This, I guess, a little bit a mini story time. You know, years ago I used to date this guy. Now at the time I didn't know that, you know, he had low self-esteem, or to be honest, I just didn't know even about this concept of low self-esteem and stuff like that. This was many moons ago. You know, most of you guys don't know this, but I am pushing 35. You know, I am an older woman, and you know, I didn't grow up in a household where self-esteem and self-worth and loving yourself and stuff like that was talked about, unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe, you know, maybe if I had grown up in a household like that, I wouldn't be filming this video for you today. So, you know, everything in life is a matter of perspective. Anyways, moving on. So this man had extreme low self-esteem, and at the time I didn't know. And looking back in hindsight, and you know, hindsight is 50-50 or 20-20, the reason why I can see that this man had extreme low self-esteem is because when we would get, you know, in an argument, when we would have a disagreement, which, you know, is normal in long-term relationship and marriages, and even in friendships, you know, anyone else telling you anything else is lying to you, right? What he would do is, and bear in mind, this was his place, you know, it was his house, it was his apartment, right? He was the one who paid the rent there. But what he would do when we get in a disagreement is go on the extreme, on the other side of the bed, and, you know, try to take as little space as possible. He would put himself in the fetus position, and he would really try very hard to occupy as little space as possible, you know. Very, very sad. And, you know, the next morning, if I was still in the apartment, if I hadn't gone home yet, he would avoid entering rooms that I was in. Again, this was his house, his place, his apartment. He paid the rent there, right? But if I was in the living room and he wanted some breakfast, he would still not come in there. You know, he would avoid coming in the living room. He would stay hungry. If he stayed so hungry that it became unbearable for him, because, you know, I like to read. I can read for hours upon hours upon hours, so I would just read my book in the living room. You know, he would actually go outside and eat something and come back, rather than, or he would just leave and stay out there until I go home, rather than, you know, occupy his own space in his own home, again, where he paid the rent. So if you notice this in yourself, you guys, I beg of you, work on it, okay? Because this is a sign of extreme low self-esteem, okay? Lower than low, right? Another thing that people who have low self-esteem tend to do is they have a very hard time with criticism, right? Like, they take criticism to heart. Like, everything that people tell them is true to them, right? You can tell them, you talk too much, or you're too arrogant, or you spend too much, and they are going to accept this as truth. Now, confident people don't do this. People who are confident and people who have a healthy sense of self-esteem do not take everything that people tell them as true. They don't accept it as true. Now, if they, you know, introspect and they find it to be true, then sure, they may work on it. For example, I know that if 5 people tell me the same thing, hell, even 4, I'm going to assess, you know, maybe there is some truth to this. But if one person tell me, oh, I think you're arrogant, I may not necessarily, you know, I say, okay, girl, you know, you're entitled to having your own opinion, you know, that's on you. I don't think I'm arrogant. I know I'm confident, but I'm not arrogant, you know. Now, to people who have, you know, not as a healthy sense of self-esteem as I do, my confidence may come across to them as an arrogance, you know. So it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that, you know. That's an internal problem. They need to work on fixing their own sense of, you know, their own level of increasing their level of self-esteem. So people, if you have a very, very hard time taking criticism, that is a sign of insecurity. If you have a hard time sustaining eye contact, again, this is like, it's come back to not feeling like you deserve to be there, not feeling like you deserve to be somewhere, and, you know, so you don't want to look at people straight in the eye because you're kind of afraid. You're kind of like hiding something without hiding anything. You want to make yourself feel small. You want to make yourself feel invisible. Obviously, we know that bad posture is a sense of low self-esteem, right? Everybody knows this. That's not a subtle sign. It's an obvious one. You know, people who are always sitting like this, you know, they're never like sitting straight. They're never sitting, you know, they never, again, they do not want to occupy any space. Now, another sign of low self-esteem is that you are willing to do more for others than you are willing to do for yourself. For example, let's say that you go into Zara and you see this beautiful dress that costs $50. Okay, $49.99. You know, we all know that nothing in Zara costs, you know, round sums. It's always 99 behind in order to make you feel like it's cheaper than it really is. You know, it's a psychological trick. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I have ADHD. So you see this dress, you go in the fitting room, you try it, and you look beautiful in it. You feel confident as soon as you wear it. It's really, really nice. But you still decide, oh, you know, $50 is a bit too much. I am not gonna take it with me. So you put back the dress on the stock and you walk out of Zara. Now, as soon as you walk out of there, you bump into your cousin, and he's like, let me hold the 50, and you give him $50. Now, this shows that you don't like yourself. You know, this is a sign, if you ask me, of self-hate, a subtle sign of self-hate. This is a sign that you don't respect yourself, because really, why would you put somebody else's need above your own, you know, on top of you? Like, in a world full of choices, I'm always going to choose myself. So best believe, if I need this money, or if I want it for me, I'm not going to give it to you. So I know that, for example, a lot of immigrants are guilty of this. You know, a lot of people who are the first people in their family to go to college and to make it are guilty of this because of survivor's guilt. You know, they will send all their money or give their last to their family members, and, you know, they will stay here in horrible condition just to make sure that, you know, they are providing for their families, when really, you know, they don't owe them anything, first of all, and second of all, you know, like, I'm not against helping out friends and family members, but you have to make sure that you're good first, and then, you know, give out what's rest, you know, what's left to other people, right? And another sign of, you know, not having the healthiest level of self-esteem is having zero to none boundaries, right? You allow people to talk to you anyhow, you allow people to do with you whatever they want. People will borrow your money, for example, and never pay it back, and you know, you're not going to have the backbone to, you know, demand that they pay you back. Hell, some of you guys even gonna give them more money even though they already owe you some, right? Crazy, right? So if you have zero to none boundaries, if you have a very hard time like voicing your boundaries and, you know, reinforcing your boundaries, this is so important, because a lot of people actually do have boundaries, what I find, but they have a very hard time reinforcing their boundaries. And remember, you guys, when boundaries are not being reinforced, they are merely wishes. And I'm going to do a dedicated video about that, you know, boundaries 101, because a lot of people need that reminder. Now, another sign of low self-esteem is horrible internal self-talk and a very, very high amount of deprecating humor. Now, we can all engage in deprecating humor from time to time if that is our humor type. I know that I do it from time to time, but when you do it all the time, that could be hiding something else. You know, it could be hiding, for example, that you're insecure about, let's say you're overweight, and we see this a lot. Some people who are insecure about being overweight, and they are going to, you know, engage in very, very high level of self-deprecating humor, because they're hoping that, you know, if they pick on themselves first, then other people are not going to pick on them. So be very mindful, you know, about the stuff that you speak about yourself. You know, don't be always saying, oh, I'm so stupid, or I can't do it, or good things just don't happen for me, life is just too hard for me. Be mindful of, you know, speaking death. Literally, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So be mindful of speaking death upon your life, right? And the same way, you know, be kind to yourself. If you make a mistake, understand that all human beings, I don't care, you know, who it is that you look up to the most, that person has already made mistake, and a lot of them, and will continue to make them, because we are humans. We are bound to make mistakes. So when you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up, right? Just be kind to yourself. Understand it's okay. You know, I'm not saying don't take any accountability. Obviously, you know, talk to yourself about doing better the next time, but you know, on any given day we do what we can. So be forgiving towards yourself, right? And the last point that I'm going to address in this video, the last sign that I'm going to talk about, is perfectionism. Perfectionism is actually a sign of low self-esteem, you guys. Yes, I know, as quiet as it kept, you know, people who are extremely perfectionistic to the point where everything they do, they will do over and over and over and over again until it's absolutely perfect in order to put it out there. Or if they can't get it to be absolutely perfect, they won't put it out there, are suffering from you know, a shattered sense of self. They probably, when they were children, their parents used to criticize them a lot. They used to probably criticize everything that they do, and because of that, now they have this internal narrative, this voice in their mind that tells them that everything that they do needs to be absolutely perfect, which is, you know, a very, very much pressure to put on yourself. Like, everything is not super high stakes, you know, it is what it is. Like I said before, on any given day, you know, we do the best we can, and that's all that we can do, and that should be enough, you guys. I want to stress the importance, if you have found yourself, you know, in some of these signs, especially, you know, if you're someone who is afraid to take space, afraid, you know, feeling like almost like you don't deserve, you know, to be here, please, please, please take measure, take step, talk to a mental health professional, you know, start working toward this. I have a video, like I said, and there are other very many YouTube videos about how to fix low self-esteem. You know, try working on it, because again, low self-esteem will ruin your life, and that's on Mary and the Lamb. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful in any way, shape or form, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. In the comment section down below, let me know, you know, what are other subtle signs of low self-esteem that I may have missed. Consider subscribing to my channel as well, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye guys.